It's my pleasure and honor to invite Brazil's ambassador to India, His Excellency Kenneth Nobrega, and also the co-organizer of today's event. Let me introduce him briefly. Veteran diplomat, Ambassador Nobrega, before he assumed the current position, had served in several important positions at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ambassador Nobrega's association with BRICS goes back several years when he served at BRICS and IPSA Sherpa. He served as Secretary for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. He specializes in trade policy and taught international negotiation techniques at the Rio Branco Institute. A soft-spoken, self-effacing diplomat, he speaks 6 languages. I won't name those 6 languages because he told me not to. He will try to engage in one of them. So over to you, Excellency. Please address the question on what do you think Brazil will, what will the major focus area? What is Brazil trying to achieve at the Rio Summit? Over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Excellency Mr. Namu, Secretary ER in the Ministry of External Relations, Excellency Mr. Denis Alipov, Ambassador of Russia, Excellency Ms. Ina Krishnamurti, Ambassador of Indonesia, Excellency Mr. Kamel Zayed Kamel Galal, Ambassador of Egypt, Mr. Djotivic, FICI Director General, ladies and gentlemen. So, first I'd like to thank Mr. Manish Chand, the CEO of the Center for Global Insights, for actually conceiving this event. I joined his effort, but he actually conceived this event. So my presentation will make a few remarks on how Brazil sees the role of BRICS, the role the BRICS can play at such a complex moment in world geopolitics and geoeconomics. I will also recall the priorities of the Brazilian presidency with a selective focus on some issues. And I hope that my presentation will help kickstart a rich debate this afternoon, which will benefit from the contributions of such eminent speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we reflect on the prospects and challenges of Brazil's chairship of BRICS, it's important to start by realizing that it's about an endeavor to increase the delivery capacity of a group that has assumed even greater importance in recent years on the international stage. In a quick personal recollection of a BRICS old-timer, we're a long way from 2015, a long decade ago, indeed. This was the year the new development bank and the BRICS contingent reserve arrangement entered into force. At that juncture, the internal debates in BRICS, then made up of 5 countries, centered on what should be the main priority of the group after this historic establishment of 2 financial institutions. At that time, a common goal underlined the different ideas and positions put forward by member countries. That common goal was to ensure that the group remains a relevant locus for debate and new initiatives in an emerging multipolar world. I think today, this kind of concerns about relevance of the group make little sense indeed. The expanded BRICS will likely take on an ever greater centrality in the coming years as a platform for pushing forward the reform of global governance institutions, or for at least avoiding the further erosion of institutionality in international relations. The group is nowadays perhaps one of the few loci of international coordination capable of discussing the major challenges facing humanity based on the assumption that they can only be addressed by joint action of the whole international community through consensus building. Consensus building is indeed a central feature of the BRICS acquis. Let me make here another brief BRICS old-timer recollection about the BRICS historical acquis. Since its inception, from the Brazilian point of view, BRICS has been an informal coordination and cooperation mechanism created by a shared vision of the political leaderships of its member countries. That shared vision was and remains the following. Despite their geographical dispersion and diverse trajectories, be it historical, socio-economic, civilizational, all its members have a converging interest in promoting the reform of global governance institutions so that they better reflect the new multipolar configuration of power created by the rise of emerging and developing countries. This political vision has been always promoted with pragmatism and patience, always in a spirit of consensus building and sensitivity to the diversity of its members, both in terms of interests and worldviews. Of course, intra-BRICS dynamics have not always been tension-free, but at the end of the day, we always manage to express ourselves in one voice in a wide range of areas, even if the resulting joint declarations were at times perceived as lacking ambition and did not produce all the time breakthroughs. But BRICS was never in the business of producing hasty breakthroughs. In some, BRICS acquis has to do with the political vision exercised with pragmatism, acknowledgement of diversity, and adherence to joint action through consensus building. Perhaps this is the reason why more than 30 countries signaled their interest in joining BRICS or becoming a partner country, especially in the last few years. So, drawing from this acquis, the expanded BRICS holds out the promise of reform of international institutions with inclusiveness, with the global South exercising effective influence on its reconfiguration. Despite the mistaken impressions of some, BRICS is not working against anyone, against any group. BRICS is in favor of the sustainable development of its members and, of course, its founding platform, which is the reform of global governance with effective multilateral institutions. So, ladies and gentlemen, against this backdrop on how Brazil conceives BRICS, the Brazilian presidency has defined the priorities for its presidency, the first in which all the new members and partners will participate fully. So, as already recalled by my friend Manish, the motto of Brazilian chairship is strengthening global South cooperation for more inclusive and sustainable governance. We aim to produce two high-level thematic declarations, one on financing the climate change regime, the other on the governance of artificial intelligence. These two declarations are distinct from the leaders' declaration, as they will be brief and to the point, serving to clearly position BRICS on these critical issues. Brazil's BRICS presidency prioritizes 6 core areas: reform of the peace and security multilateral architecture, global health cooperation, climate change, trade, investment and finance, governance of artificial intelligence, and institutional development. First, reform of multilateral peace and security architecture. Of course, as I have mentioned, this is one of the founding platforms of BRICS as a group, and we are seeing before our eyes how urgent it has become. We see the troubling resurgence of unilateralism at a time when global challenges demand more cooperation, not less. BRICS has a vital role to play in reinforcing the principles of international law, supporting peaceful settlement of disputes, and pushing for the reform of multilateral institutions, particularly the United Nations and its Security Council. Reform is essential to make these institutions more inclusive and representative of the global South, and to ensure they are more efficient, more effective, and more legitimate in addressing the complex realities of our time. Second priority, global health cooperation. Here, Brazilian presidency's priorities are the strengthening of the BRICS platform for vaccine research and development, the expansion of the BRICS research network on tuberculosis, and the launch of the BRICS partnership for the elimination of socially determined disease and neglected tropical diseases. These priorities are based on the realization that COVID-19 pandemic and the recent mpox health crisis have shown once again that the fight against infectious diseases requires coordinated transnational action. Third priority, trade, investment, and finance. In the economic sphere, I single out discussions on the development of payment instruments and platforms, and the use of local currencies that can stimulate investment and trade between BRICS countries. The proposals for the use of local currencies in intra-BRICS transactions are intended to reduce transaction costs and thereby boost trade and investment among member countries. If approved, they would be implemented on a voluntary basis. Let me just here recall that, for example, this is not really nothing novel. In our regional integration group, Mercosur, countries are free to trade in local currencies. And this has been in place for almost 30 years now. So, and this local currencies trade among Mercosur member countries are, of course, on a voluntary basis. So, going further, the economic pillar of BRICS also includes a partnership for the new industrial revolution and a broad economic partnership. I will not enter into details here for the sake of time, so I'm just focusing on some selected issues. But BRICS economic pillar also includes a trade and investment promotion forum, the BRICS Business Forum. In this regard, I'm really looking forward to hearing the remarks of Ms. Jyoti Vij. Fourth priority, climate change. Here the main goal is to adopt a BRICS climate leadership agenda, including a leaders framework declaration on climate finance, aimed at guiding structural change in the financial sector. The Brazilian presidency is also encouraging a coordinated and effective participation of the group at COP30 in Belém do Pará later this year in November. And more specifically, the priority here is to strengthen the financing of adaptation and mitigation projects, which really have a clear impact on the ground for our citizenry. Let me just make an observation here. The declaration issued, I think 2 months ago by the Ministers of Environment is a good and very tangible example of inclusion of global South concerns in building consensus to tackle what is, of course, is one of the key existential global challenges before the world today, such as climate change. Moving further, artificial intelligence governance. Here, the focus is to promote inclusive and responsible international governance of artificial intelligence in order to unlock the potential of this technology to support social, economic, and environmental development. Last priority, institutional development. This term institutional is misleading because BRICS, it's an informal coordination group. But here the focus is improving the structure and cohesion of BRICS after its historic enlargement. BRICS, there is a need to fully integrate the new members and partners into the group's activities, and this requires a new organizational approach. So in this sense, our chairship tabled proposals for the group's institutional development, so organizational development, I think would be the better word here, through, and this would be carried out through an updating of the BRICS terms of reference. It's the sole formal document in terms of organizing BRICS way of conducting business. So with BRICS recent expansion, we may have reached a point where it is time to strike a balance between ensuring greater continuity in our work, because why I'm pointing out here continuity, because the continuity from one presidency to the other was assured in a very informal way by the BRICS of the former presidency talking to the BRICS of the next presidency. So it was, given that the atmosphere within BRICS has been always very collaborative, this did not pose a problem. But now what the Brazilian chairship is thinking, that with 11 members and 10 partners, perhaps it's time to strike a balance between ensuring greater continuity in our work and preserving the flexibility that has been a hallmark of our organization. So in striking this balance, the challenge is to preserve the BRICS acquis and to ensure the group remain as an attractive platform of consensus building as it has been in the last 20 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, in concluding, the priorities defined by the Brazilian presidency aim at updating the focus of the group's actions in view of the urgency of addressing old and new global challenges in a complex geopolitical environment and marked by increased polarization and distrust. So within this context, we are also seeking, as I have mentioned, to update BRICS work dynamics while staying true to BRICS acquis and its gold standard, pragmatic, patient, and inclusive consensus building. Thank you very much.
Excellency, thank you so much for that overarching, all-encompassing view of Brazil's BRICS presidency. Very useful as we head to the summit in Rio.